And as you've said many times, you don't care if this is about you. It's about shining a light on what does appear to be two different systems in America, depending on whether you're a person of color or whether you're not.
Yeah. And it was just basically giving a broader look on situations where we come from deep, where it's like dark, where too much light isn't shine. And Lester Holt, actually, Dateline, they gave us a platform to actually explain the ins and outs of the system, the errors, where some people may think this guy was on probation, he violated probation. I always use this as an example. I don't know if you've seen the two kids in Starbucks, but they was arrested for lounging in Starbucks. Being in contact with the police on probation is just a violation. So if you came in contact with police while you're serving time for probation, you could go to jail at any given moment, no matter if you're innocent or guilty for a crime. It
was now 13 years ago, and you were a young man. That's how you got into this system, and there was, in hindsight, the details are that the arresting officer, I don't know, has he even given an interview, but he was implicated in some perjury and a lot of other cases.
Well, it's been proven he's been wrongfully convicted.
Wrongfully convicted.
He was charged of pointing a gun that another cop that arrested him came forward.
So that was the
he didn't point the gun, so he was wrongfully convicted to start with.
Initially, but then the probation or parole system is, I think the intention is to help take an 18-year-old kid and as he's progressing into manhood, just to try and get him on the straight and narrow. But as it turns out, it almost looks like it turns into a vicious cycle of being institutionalized, and it almost is counterproductive to what we're trying to do here. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's like I just came from prison, and actually it was filled with people that was abused drugs, people who had mental illness, and these are the people that's on parole and probation. I think it's 4.5 million people in America on parole and probation. Out of 4.5 million of them, probably a million of them only probably really pose a threat to society. The rest of them have probably been on long-term probation, and I actually happen to be one of them. And through my life at 18, I was in wrong places at wrong time. I grew up in an environment where police contact is just like on a daily basis. So I ended up with a background, and as years went by, I followed my dreams and became a music artist and started to be able to take care of myself and my family. And this probation
it's following you, and it's following you, and you pop a wheelie on a music video, and that's a parole violation.
Yeah, and that landed me in jail for 2 to 4 years in prison. So basically, a traffic violation got me a 4-year sentence.
And one thing that I've noticed over all this, in talking about Michael and Meek, is the arresting officer was African American, the judge is African American. Yeah. So it's not. We're not saying that it's racism. It's a systemic problem in the system itself.
Yeah, it's a systematic problem. It's not a color problem. I just think, like, I'm an inner city kid. If you're on probation in inner city where, like, you got all types of strike forces, different police forces where they crowd these ghettos and these areas a lot, and they strike a lot, and a lot of people come in contact with police. You have a better chance of going to prison than a kid in the suburbs, because in the suburbs, you don't really come in contact with the police. And it's not really about color, it's just about circumstance, environment, and the policies that's placed in certain environments. Like, if you make one mistake, and a mistake, not saying committing crime, you don't even have to commit crime to go back to prison, no matter if you made a mistake in 2005, if you're on probation 13 years, you could be on your last day of probation and make a simple mistake, like miss your probation officer, and still be sentenced to 3, 4, 5 years in jail.
And they can add probationary years. They can. You might go to New Jersey from Philly, and you forget to tell someone. Yeah. That's enough to add more years of probation. And it doesn't.
So what's the answer, though?
That's the question. What is the answer?
Creating policies to help it be. Like, if a guy is a drug addict, if you're addicted to opioids, they have a medicine that they can help. I think it's methadone. It's a few medicines they can help to people to get off addiction from opioids. But with probation, if you get you show up negative, you show up positive for opioids, 9 times out of 10 they would send you to jail, then send you to rehabilitation. And the jail is full of guys that was on heroin, addicted to opioids and pills, And these guys are not really criminals, they're actually victims.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.